Hi folks, welcome to SQE1 window. So we have explored in last 6 chapters about dispute resolution, the process, and we are going through the timeline, and we have reached to pre-action protocols in our chapter 7. So today we are going to understand a part of civil procedure that every aspiring solicitor must know for SQE1 preparation, that is pre-action protocols. Think of these as the rules of engagement before anyone actually fires the litigation cannon. In simple terms, these protocols are designed to stop the courts from being flooded with disputes that could have been sorted with a sensible chat or at least a well ordered or well worded letter. They are found in the civil procedure rules once again, and they tell parties what to do before starting a claim. And I have already said it many times that the purpose of CPR is to avoid litigation and make people that sensible that they can resolve their disputes on their own. So now, whenever you see claimant or defendant in this context, remember at this stage they are only potential claimant and potential defendant. The fight has not yet officially begun, but the warm up is in full swing. You have got specific protocols for things like personal injury and death, and if your dispute does not fit neatly into one of these boxes, you follow the practice direction on pre-action conduct and protocols. Or as it is said in abbreviated form, PDPACP. Oh, a long abbreviation, rolls off the tongue beautifully, doesn't it? So, the purpose, structure of and consequences of these protocols, pre-action directions and all is, so what's the whole point? We try to understand, in essence, efficiency, fairness, and saving everyone from unnecessary cost and grief. The idea is to get the parties talking, exchanging documents, and maybe even reaching a deal before anyone steps foot in the court. Each protocol gives a nice little checklist: letter of claim, letter of response, disclosure, sometimes even guidance on using expert. And a reminder, when these deadlines are mentioned, they are in working or business days, not weekend or bank holidays. You can't post a letter on Friday and start counting Saturday or Sunday, and in some cases, people start counting hours. Now, the court take compliance very seriously. If a party turns up having ignored the protocol, judge will notice, and they have got a range of nullities. They can delay your case, reduce your cost, or even order you to pay the other side's cost. In other words, non-compliance hurts and costs literally. It's not just about taking box, it's about behaving like a reasonable solicitor, not a bulldozer in suit. So once again, PDPACP, general principle and letter of claim. Now onto the PDPACP itself. This applies when there isn't a specific protocol for your case. Its purpose, what is the purpose? To make sure both sides know where they stand before the claim is issued. It's all about information exchange, fairness, as courts love to say, dealing with matters justly and at proportionate cost. So these two terminologies, keep in mind, justly and proportionate cost, and that's what is the purpose of all these pre-action protocols or directions. The first big step is letter of claim. This is a formal hello, but with paperwork. It sets out the key facts, issues, and documents. The defendant then has to respond, usually within 14 days. And in other cases, it is different. In some cases, it goes up to 3 months in complex cases. So, if after all this back and forth the parties can't agree and proceeding must begin, the court will look closely at whether both sides behaved sensibly during this stage. No one wants to be the solicitor whose conduct says ignored protocols acted unreasonably, or costs penalized. So, personal injury protocol, let's look into them. So, this applies to claims worth up to £25,000, typically those that end up on fast track. The protocol begins with an early notification letter, a kind of heads up that a claim may be on horizon. Then comes the formal letter of claim, which must include the factual basis of claim, details of injuries, the impact on daily life, and outline of financial loss. The defendant has 21 working days to acknowledge receipt, and then further 3 months to investigate and provide a full response. That's quite generous, but it's meant to allow insurer and defendant time to gather evidence properly, because that's a matter of thought. There is also a strong focus on rehabilitation. The protocol encourages both parties to consider claimants' medical treatment needs early on, like they need to focus on to getting the person or saving the person. A civilized approach, really, not just fighting over liability, but helping people recover too. And don't forget about expert. The preference is for joint experts to keep costs down and prevent the battle of experts. Scenario like, for example, two doctors disagree, two experts or engineers, they disagree on some points, or through medical examiner in this case of thought, they may disagree on points. So in case of debt protocol, now we will try to see that those are also equally crucial one, especially for those working with individual or small business. This one covers business to individual debt claims, including sole trader, but not business to business debt unless one side is a sole trader. So it starts with the letter of claim. Here must be extremely detailed, stating the debt amount, interest agreement details, any assignment of the debt, and payment options, for example. It must also include a reply form which gives the debtor a chance to respond or propose kind of repayment, that how they can repay. So about the date, the debtor has at least 30 working days to respond from when they receive the reply form or any requested document, whichever is later. And before starting proceeding, the creditor may give at least 14 working days notice of their intention to sue, unless of course there are exceptional circumstances that, like, limitation is running out. At that point they won't wait of course. These built-in time frames are designed to give people breathing space. And for exam, remember, working days means Monday to Friday, excluding bank holidays. So no counting the weekend as progress, and no overthinking as well. And as always, parties are encouraged to consider area like repayment plans or mediation, because sometimes picking up the phone can save months of letters and thousands of pounds. So, key timelines, that's what we need to understand. Pause, relax, load of information to digest. So, but that's a favorite testing area. Under the PDPACP, once again, defendants generally have 14 days to respond for straightforward claim, up to 3 months for the complex one. In personal injury, acknowledge it within 21 working days and then respond within 3 months. Debt claims get 30 working days after receiving the reply form or document before proceeding can start, and the creditor must give at least 14 working days notice before suing. If you remember nothing else, remember these deadlines in working days. Unless otherwise stated, no one is counting weekends. And if you accidentally issue a claim early, your opponent will gleefully tell the judge you jumped the gun. So careful. So most of the time in exam there are counting, so be mindful of the fact that these are working days.